Greetings, I'm Dan Stevens. I'm the instructor for the course. Surprise, surprise. I told you I was going to have some video in this course, and this is my first attempt at a video quiz. So let's see how it works. Okay, among the many topics covered in Chapter 4 is how can we best use the constructive aspects of stress while minimizing the negative behavioral and physical effects. Some of the approaches introduced in the chapter include lifestyle adjustments, attitude adjustments, social support, emotional regulation, taking control of your time, time management, job redesign, and other organizational factors. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you, just read the chapter. One of the aforementioned topics, social support, mentions specifically social isolation as a major risk factor. As many of you already know, my research pertains specifically to transportation matters. So early on in my PhD program, as I was considering a study topic for my dissertation, I pondered the impact of the aging baby boomer generation on public transportation systems. The baby boomers traditionally embraced the automobile. They lived out in the suburbs. They lived on the periphery of the major metro areas. Shortly after World War II, land was cheap out there. They were living the American dream. And they were the independent generation. That was kind of the hallmark of what they were known for. They invented rock and roll, all of that. Just so you know, I was actually I was born the last year that was considered the baby boomer generation. Don't tell anybody. Anyway, my thought was to see if the baby boomer generation might change to support public transportation, if only out of necessity. Okay, so think about this. They start, that generation started at the end of World War II, 1945, ended in 1964. So yeah, they're starting to retire. They're starting to get older, more medical issues, things like this, all these ailments. And so while they used to use the car, eventually people, wear down and they lose their faculties. Their response time is less. And so they have to start thinking about how are they going to get around. Especially if you live out on the periphery, everything is a day trip. So these are big considerations. And like I said, my thought was, how are these people going to, get around from outside of the metro areas to the social service they need on the inside? So during my preliminary studies, I learned much about isolation and how it can impact people. For instance, if a person, let's say a senior citizen, has limited mobility, they struggle getting to the store, to the doctor, to church, to other social arrangements, and they become socially isolated. Now, as your reading suggests, this can have an adverse impact on their health. So those people who are active in the community, though, on the flip side, they don't suffer near the number of medical issues as those that, are isolated. It's the difference between being a client of society and being a contributor. Studies have shown seniors that volunteer, they actively volunteer. Let's say they seek out an elementary school, go read to the kids. They might work at a soup kitchen. They might, wherever, work at an animal shelter. They are engaging their community. And what happens is the studies show that they are less of a drain on community services as opposed to those that are socially isolated. So, okay, here's the tricky part. I'm hoping this is going to work. I'll let you know. I'm sure you will. I get lots of emails from you folks, and I appreciate it. Now for a few questions. You'll need to answer these questions in video quiz 1. Note the questions are not shown in the quiz. You'll need to watch this video and simply respond with the answer. Okay, question 1. What generational group did I specifically mention in this story? A, the silent generation. B, the baby boomer generation. C, Generation X. Or D, the millennials. So answer that under question 1. Question 2. What is the common outcome of social isolation? A, being a client of society. Or B, being a contributor to society. What is the outcome of social isolation? Why do I keep mispronouncing that? Question 3. Which of the aforementioned two groups have been found to have a higher strain on community resources? the clients of society? That's answer A, clients of society, or B, the contributors of society. Now, question 4, what was specifically mentioned as a good way to counter falling into social isolation? A, walking daily. B, quit smoking. C, quit drinking. Or D, volunteering. Anyway, thanks for playing. Answer and submit, and I'll see you next time.